Jane, I have this little ritual every month when my phone bill arrives. I take a deep breath, open the email, and brace myself for that one line item, that one charge that makes absolutely no sense. It's usually got some vague corporate speak name like regulatory cost recovery or administrative fee. It's only a buck or two, so I sigh, maybe curse a little, and then pay it, because what choice do I have?
You're not alone in that ritual, Joe. Millions of people do the exact same thing. And it turns out that collective sigh has finally amounted to something. AT&T recently agreed to a major settlement over exactly that kind of charge. We're talking about a $141 million settlement, all because they were tacking on fees that plaintiffs argued were completely bogus.
141 million? That sounds like a win, right? The little guy stuck it to the telecom giant? So what's the payout? Are people getting hundreds back? Thousands?
Well, this is where the story turns. The estimated payout for a successful claim is around $20 to $30, maybe enough to cover 1 month of the very fees you were overcharged for.
$20? You're kidding me. I feel like I should be offended on behalf of everyone. It's like a bank robbing you for years and then mailing you a gift card for a free coffee as an apology. It feels less like justice and more like an insult.
Let's break down the facts, because the principle here is what's staggering. The lawsuit alleged that back in 2013, AT&T started adding a monthly administrative fee, which started small and eventually grew to $1.99 per line. The plaintiffs argued this wasn't for any real administrative cost, especially since the company's own financial records showed administrative costs were decreasing, but was a deceptive way to raise prices without changing the advertised rate.
It's the classic bait and switch, just done in slow motion over years so you barely notice. They bury the fee in the fine print, give it a name that sounds official, and rely on the fact that most people are too busy to fight over $2. But $2 from millions of customers? That adds up to a mountain of cash.
Exactly. Hundreds of millions in what the lawsuit called ill-gotten gains. And AT&T, for its part, denies any wrongdoing. They claim the fees were clearly disclosed, and this settlement is just to avoid the cost of a long legal battle.
Of course they do. This is the part of the story that drives me crazy. The human side of this isn't about one person getting a check for $25. It's about the silent contract we have with these companies. We trust them to provide a service for an agreed-upon price. This feels like a violation of that trust, repeated month after month. It's a systemic bleed.
And this is where we have to zoom out and ask the big question, Joe. What is the real price of this settlement? Not the $141 million, but what it represents. For AT&T, a company with annual revenues over $120 billion, this settlement is a rounding error. It's not a punishment, it's a business expense. It's the calculated cost of getting caught.
It's the cost of doing business. They've run the numbers. They know they can make, say, $500 million from a bogus fee over 5 years. They get sued, drag it out, and then pay a settlement of $141 million. They still walk away with over $350 million in profit from the scheme. For them, it's a winning formula.
And it creates this cycle of cynicism for the consumer. You get this notice in the mail, this tiny check, and you're forced to confront the fact that your victory is pocket change. It almost makes you feel powerless, like the system is designed to produce these unsatisfying outcomes.
And let's not confuse this with other recent AT&T settlements either. There was a completely separate $177 million settlement over massive data breaches that exposed social security numbers and call records for tens of millions of people. So on one hand, they're allegedly failing to protect our most sensitive data, and on the other, they're nickel and diming us with phantom fees.
It paints a picture of a corporate culture where the customer is not a partner, but a resource to be squeezed. The settlement over the hidden fees, while financially small for the individual, is symbolically huge. It's a rare, explicit admission, even if they deny wrongdoing, that the fee wasn't legitimate. An objector to the settlement even argued that the deal was flawed because it doesn't stop AT&T from continuing the practice.
So what do we take away from this? On one hand, I'm glad they were held accountable at all. It's a crack in the armor. But on the other, it feels like we're playing a rigged game. We win a battle, they pay the paltry toll, and the war continues.
Perhaps the takeaway isn't in the check you might receive. Perhaps it's in the awareness. It's a reminder to read your bill, to question every single line item. That $2 fee isn't just $2. It's a test. It's the company testing the limits of what they can get away with. And for a brief moment, this lawsuit pushed back.
A small push against a very large machine. It's a start, I suppose. But it leaves you wondering how many other administrative fees are out there from how many other companies that we're all just paying because we feel like we have no choice.
And that, right there, is the billion-dollar question.
This podcast combines verified reports with expert analysis and narrative storytelling. Some dialogues may be dramatized for clarity, but all facts are sourced from credible media.